So in this video, we're gonna be working on the correction for the questions that you guys did recently for your tests. So we're gonna be starting with the question 1 right away. Now, notice that in question 1, we are supposed to calculate the values of 5 times 8. Okay, so this one here, we can go ahead and use our calculator for that. I guess that should not be so much of a difficult task. We just enter those information in the calculator and we find this coming out right away. So what will it be? Well, the first question, which is about calculation, let me write it down here. This question 1 is about calculating some quantities, okay? Right, so the first part of question 1, which we are calling 1.1, is that we have to calculate the value of 5 times what? The value of 5 times 8. So what do we get when we multiply 5 by 8? Well, let's see. So there we go. We have 5 times 8. What do we get? We get 40. Yes, as simple as that. Then in the next question, which is 1.2, we are supposed to find the value of 6 by 7. Okay, we have to find the value of 6 by 7. And what's the value of 6 times 7? Well, the value of 6 times 7 can also be calculated with the help of a calculator. That is 6 times what? Times 7. That gives us what? 42. And now in the next question, which is 1.3, we are supposed to find the calculated value of 3 times what? Times 7. So 3 times 7 can also be calculated a lot easily with the help of a calculator, and that should give us the value of, well, let's see here, 3 times 7. That gives what? 21. So we just put it right down there, 21. Then in the next question, which is 1.4, we are supposed to find the value of 8. What? 8 times 12. So the value of 8 times 12 can also be calculated with ease using a calculator. And so 8 times 12 will give us 96. So there we go, 96. Now in the second question, okay, in the second question, what we are supposed to do is to not to use a calculator, but to calculate, okay? I mean, we have to use, we have to do a mental mathematics. So we say question 2 without a calculator, okay? We're supposed to calculate without a calculator. So without a calculator, we are supposed to find the value of, okay, 4 plus 7 plus 5 plus 6. But what's that going to be? Now notice that 4 plus 7 is 11. 11 plus 5 is what? 16. 16 plus 6 is what? 22. Yes, we are done. So we move to the second question, which is what? Which is requiring us to find the value of 7 added to 6 added to 5 added to 4. How do we get this? Well, notice that 7 added to 6 is 13, plus 5 is 18, plus 4 is 22. And so that will also give us 22. And the next question is 2.3. And in 2.3, we have to add 6. Sorry, we have to add 6 to 5, then to 7, then to 4. 6, 5, 7, 4. What do we get here? Well, notice that this gives 11. That is 6 plus 5 gives 11. 11 plus 7 gives 18. 18 plus 4 gives 22. Then in the next question, which is 2.4, we have to calculate the value of 7 added to 5, then added to 4, added to 6. Yes, what do we get here? Notice that 7 added to 5 is 12. 12 plus 4, 16. 16 plus 6 is 22. That's how we would handle question what? Question 2. Then question 3. Question 3, what are we supposed to do in question 3? Well, yes, what must we add to each of the following numbers to get 100, okay? So we have to evaluate. We have to find out what we need to add to these numbers to find 100, okay? So that is very much like evaluating. Now, for 3.1, we are given 82. So there is something that we should add to 82 so that we get 100. Yes, that is what the question is asking for. What must you add to each of the following numbers to get 100? That is, what must you add to 82 to get 100? Okay. Now, notice that if we take this approach, then we will soon see that this one can be simplified into x now equals to 100 minus what? Minus 82. And that should give us the value of what? 18. So we must add 18 to 82 so that we get what? So that we get 100. Then for question 3.2, there is also something we should add to 44. That is, there is something we should add. We don't know that thing. We are calling it x. So when we add x to 44, we should get what? 100. And now the question is, what is that we are going to add? Well, we can find it out by doing what? By taking away 44 from 100. Now notice that when we take 44 from 100, what we get is 56. And so we need to add 56 to 44. Okay, we need to add 56 to 44 so that we get what? So that we get 100. Well, can we prove that out? Let's check, starting with the question 1. Starting with the question 1, when we add 82 to 18, we get 100. Then for the second question is, when we add 56 to 44, we also get 100. You see? Then in the next question, okay, in the next question, what we want to do is to find what we can add to 56, okay? So there is something we need to add to 56 so that we can get 100. And what is that? Well, we can calculate it. Will be like x equals to 100 minus 56. So when we take away 56 from 100, we get 44. Then for the other question, which is 3.4, what we have here is 78. So onto 78, that is what we want to add so that we get 100. Well, what is this quantity? This quantity is then going to be 100 minus 78. What do we get there? Well, 100 minus 78 will give us 22. Okay. Then the next thing we want to look at is 3.5. Now, 3.5 has got 24. And the question is, what do we have to add on to 24 so that we get 100? Well, that number is going to be 100 minus 24. And when we do that, what we get is 76. That is how we solve question 3. Then now for question 4, what we have to do is to calculate, okay? We have to calculate. So let's get going. We are supposed to calculate. What are we supposed to calculate? Well, let's have it there as calculation. So in calculation, we have what? 4.1. The first part. We have to calculate 10. 10 times what? Well, we have to calculate 10 times 10 plus 7. So 10 plus 7, how do we calculate this? Well, this can be calculated with a relative ease. We can say this is equals to 10 times 17. Yes. And notice that 10 times 17 gives us, well, let's check right here. 10 times 17, that should be 170. And so we get it now. Then now the next question is 4.2, where we have to multiply 100 times 10, okay? And later we add 100 times what? Times 7. So what do we get here? Well, for these first two, 100 times 10, we get 1,000. Then for the next, we have 100 times 7, and we get 700. So that means here we can get a total of 1,700. Then for the next question, which is 4.3, what we are required to do is calculate 100 times what? 10 minus 7. So 100 times 10 minus 7. So how do we deal with this? Well, the easiest way is first to handle the bracket. So that means we are going to be having 100 times what? Times 3, because 10 minus 7 is 3. And that should give us a value of 300. Then in the next question, which is 4.4, what we have is 100 times what? 100 times 10 minus 100 times what? Times 7. Well, what is this going to give us? Well, this is going to give us, for 100 times 10, we get 1,000. Okay, and now from it we take away 100 times 7, we get 700. So that this will give us a value of 300. Then we go to the next question, which is question 5. Now, question 5 requires us to do what? Question 5 requires us also to calculate. Now, in calculating, we have been given numbers. Okay, right. So we have to calculate 2 times 2 times 2. So this is what we have, 2 times 2. What's that? Okay, now just to calculate it is to find the value. So how do we get this? What's the value of 2 times 2 times 2? Well, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Then the next question is for us to calculate -3. Okay, we have to calculate the value of -3, then later -3, then later -3. What do we get for that? Well, -3 times -3 is +9. Okay, and then +9 times -3 is -27. Okay, yes, that's what we get. Then for the next question, which is 5.3, we have been given 5 times 5. 5 times 5. Well, what is 5 times 5? 5 times 5 is 25. Then the next question is 5.4. And in 5.4, we have -1, which is supposed to multiply -1, then later -1. What do we get from this? Now, notice that -1 times -1 is +1. +1 times -1 is -1. Yes, that's the answer. Then now for question 6. For question 6, what do we have to do? Well, question 6, we are supposed to calculate. We have been given some values and we have to calculate. We have to find what the answer is. So it's also under calculation. And what are we calculating this time? Well, 6.1, it's 2 squared. Unfortunately, it's written here as 2.1, but they follow 6, so it's going to be 6.1 first. So we have a 2 with exponent of 2. Well, how do you calculate that? Well, that's the same as 2 times 2. Okay, that is 2 times 2. And 2 times 2 is what? Is 4. Okay, so we say this is equal to 2 times 2, which gives us a value of 4. Then the next question, which is 6.2, is having this question which is inside the bracket, and it also has got what? It has got exponent. Exponent of what? Of 3. The number inside the bracket is -2. So how do we handle this question? To handle this question, that means we have to multiply -2 times another -2 in its own bracket. We again multiply this times another -2 in its own bracket. Okay. And so when we handle that, is that -2 times -2 will give us +4. And +4 times -2 will be -8. Notice that we can also use a calculator for that because this question did not restrict. Okay, this question did not restrict us. So now the next thing is for us to look for what? To look for the solution for -5 squared. So we have -5. But this -5 is what? This -5 is squared. And so what will this give us? Well, this is the same as -5 times what? Times -5. Yes, times -5. And so this one will give us a value of +25. Now the next question here is 6.4. And in 6.4, we have been given -5 cubed. So we write this as -5 with the exponent of 3. So what should this give us? Well, this should give us -5 times itself 3 times. Yeah, so for that, so what we are going to have here is going to be -5 times itself 3 times. You see? So we say times another -5. So that they add 3, 1, 2, and 3. And so what will this give us? Well, This is going to give us positive 25, and this times this will be negative 125. Yes, that is how we would handle question 6. Then now for question 7, we have that we have to label A with exponent C equals to B. So how do we label this? Well, here in this case, A is called the base. Then C is called the exponent. And B for the most part is called the powers. Okay, B is called the powers of A. So put it right over there. Yes, that's the definition of the terms. Then now for the next question, which is question 8, what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to express this in simplest exponential form. Okay, so we are supposed to put it in exponential form. In exponential form, first question being 2 times 2 times 2. So let's first have it written down. 2 times 2 times times 2. What is this in exponential form? Now, notice that writing numbers in exponential form is possible because of what? Because of a rule. Now, the rule states that if you have a number like A with an exponent like n, and this number is used to multiply another number, let's say A with another exponent, for example, m. So from here we can write it as A. We just maintain the base. Then what we do is we add the exponent. Like that. So that is also true for this number here. Now, according to the rule stated above, we are going to maintain the base, but then we add the what? The exponent, which is 1 for the first one, then 1 for the second one, and 1 for the third one. So this should give us the value of 2 with exponent of 3, which comes after adding 1 plus 1 plus 1, that is 1 to 1 to 1. And now in the next question, which is 8.2, we have A is A for the first time, A for the second time, A for the third time, A for the fourth time, and A for the fifth time. So A for the second time, then A for the third time, then A for the fourth time, in that state until we get A to the fifth. So how do we deal with this? Well, we can write this as A with exponent of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll be having 1 added to another 1, then another 1, then another 1, then another 1. This time giving us A with exponent of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, and that's the answer. Okay, then now for the next question, which is 8.3, what we are supposed to do is to represent A times A, this time B times B times B, 5 B's. So we have 3 A's, that is 3 A's. Okay. Is 3 A's. Then we have what? 5 B's. All right. So now we'll be having B for the first time. Then we'll be having B for the second time. Then B for the third time. Then B for the fourth time. Then B for the fifth time. So all this will then give us A and B combined. And so A separately will be A with exponents of 1 to 1 to 1. Those are 3. So that gives us 1 to 1 to 1. Okay. So when we add these 3 ones, what we get is going to be the value for A. But notice that we also have B. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for B. So since we have 5 for B, this will be 1 for the first time, then 1 for the second time, then 1 for the third time, then 1 for the fourth time, then 1 for the fifth time. Okay, now that is what we have. So the next step is to simplify that out. And how do we simplify it? Well, we simplify by adding the exponents. So we then be having A with exponent of 3. Then we be having B with exponent of 5. And that becomes the solution. And now for the next question, which is 8.4. Well, 8.4, what do we have? Let's see. So for 8.4, we do have -7 for the first time. This is multiplying another -7. Okay. And again, this is used to multiply another -7. Yes. Then now later, we have A, and B, 2 A's and 5 B's. So this will give us 1A and another 1A, then 5 B's. So which we can get from here already written. So when we take that and we place it right here, the next step is now to simplify what we have written. So how do we simplify that? Well, to simplify this, we want to look at this 7. So notice there are 3 of them. And so we just take one of them, which is what? -7. Then we have the exponent. Now the exponent will be represented for this, for that, and for the other. Meaning we will be having 1 for the first 7, 1 for the second 7, and 1 for the third 7. And after that, we'll be having A. A how many times? Well, A is appearing 2 times. So we'll be having 1 for the first A and another 1 for the second A. Then after that, we'll be having B's. So for B's, we are going to be having, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 B's, we'll be having 1 for the first B, then another one for the second B, then another one for the third B, then another one for the fourth B, then finally a 1 for the fifth B. At this stage, the next thing for us is now to simplify. And how do you simplify this? Well, we will then be having a -7 coming first. Then we add the exponent. And what's the exponent? Well, the exponent we add 1, 2, 3, exponent 3. Then we now have a. Notice that even if we have left this multiplication sign, it won't change anything. So we have got a with exponent what? 1, 2. So we put it there. Then we also have b finally with exponent what? Well, the exponent b is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like that. Okay? So this is how we handle this section of what? Of question 8, part 8.4, or the last question. Okay? And then this also forms the last part of our correction. Now the next question is going to be on a brand new topic, which is for this term. Okay? So I'm going to check really brief and see if the topic is readily available so that I can just get through for you. So this is grade 8. Grade 8 seems let me see. Yes. Right, so the next thing is for us to start preparing for this new topic. Okay, let's prepare for this new topic, which I guess you are having it on the screen here. The topics of decimal fractions, exponents, and numerical and geometric patterns. Then after that, we will be having another test. So these are the 3 topics: decimal fractions, exponents, and numerical and geometric patterns. Then after that, we move on to a test. So that is our topics for this term before we do a test.